Do you have a heating, ventilation, or air conditioning problem and need it fixed as soon as possible? Has it been a long time since the last time you have the HVAC system in your home or at your office maintained? Finding the right HVAC contractors can sometimes be hard. You need to make sure that they have the knowledge, skill, and experience to provide you with complete repair and maintenance services. That's why we're here to help. With a highly trained, licensed, insured, and experienced team of technicians, we're proud to offer the best services in the field. From sale, installation, to repair and maintenance, we take each project with care and with a focus on open communication and getting the job done right the first time. Maintaining the ventilation, air, and heating systems in your home or office is the key to the longevity of your units and effective energy savings. So don't risk your money on an ineffective HVAC system. Call us today.
Good morning, this is TCR, TroyCommunityRadio.com. I'm Clint Myers on 107.1 WTJN for David Denoyer on TCTV. It's time now for the Lincoln Community Center Report, and with me, Shane Carter.
Good morning. How you doing, Clint?
Good morning. They're doing wonderful. Looking forward to a little warmer weather again this weekend,
Yes.
especially after the snow.
I'm praying so. We've had some issues at the center, mainly with like water and stuff as far as around the basement. So I'm hoping that we can get the snow cleared up so we can start addressing some things as far as waterproofing and things
Getting
like that.
dried out.
Yes, getting dried out. Yep.
All right. You've got your youth basketball signups going on.
Yes, we had planned to run them through what would have been this past Friday, but we're actually going to extend them to 2/29/16, which is this upcoming Monday. And I'm asking all parents and any other stakeholders that want to volunteer as coaches. We really need coaches. We had a lot of kids last year, and with more kids comes more teams you have to split up, and to keep the ratios right, I'm really in need of adult coaches. So any senior students that need volunteer hours, community service, or if you're just retired or have a free Saturday, we really need some help with instruction and coaches. So that's my plea for this year, and hopefully we'll have a good turnout. It is a spring league, so it'll start second week of March, and hopefully the snow will break before then.
All right. Now, this is Black History Month. I know you spoke at Edison Community College, too.
I did yesterday.
All right.
That went pretty good. It was good because we had the students. It was like during their lunch period, and when you start talking about race, and you start talking about history. Kids kind of, young people kind of like, whatever you say, But I was engaged in that. A lot of kids were asking me questions about my own upbringing, and they were like, a lot of them knew that I was biracial, and my mom was white, and my dad was black. And I'm like, well, have you ever seen prejudice on both sides of the fence? We had a good conversation. It went well, and I think it was really worthwhile. And I believe that their staff and their diversity committee is really trying hard to bring in some new stuff and things. So.
Okay, and at the Lincoln Community Center, you have
Yes.
your last event that you said.
Yes, our last event is actually, for our listeners, it's going on actually today, and it's at the Miami County Library. We start at 10 a.m., and then it concludes with an Underground Railroad tour at First Presbyterian Church. And what we're doing, it's really unique in that a piece of history was written by Lucille Wheat and Lois Davies, both locals from Troy. And what they did was, started in the 1940s, really 1946, they started looking at race relations as on the parent-teacher organizations for Troy City Schools. And one of their kids, one of Lucille's sons, Lowndes, had drowned in the Miami County River. So they looked at integrating swim lessons and parent-teacher organization. And it's based on true history. And the book actually was never published in terms of out for distribution, but there's copies at the Miami County Library, the Troy Local History Library. So our kids, we took a look at the copy at the center, and they were very intrigued by, okay, for example, the rec at that time. A lot of the black kids didn't go to the rec, but they went to the center, and they thought, how would things be 70 years ago if we couldn't go to the rec or kids couldn't come to the center? And they really got, they got engaged in that, and they really were interested. So we're just doing a small, I'm calling it a piece of acting out some of the events from Troy history. And the reason that it's kind of so complicated, on the Wheat side of the family has the copyrights, and they aren't really fond about allowing it to be used. Where on the Davies side of the family, they deeded that over or willed it to the Troy Historical Society, and they've allowed us to use it. So it's kind of complicated. But to kind of make sure we're not making anybody mad and we're following all the laws, the kids, we're kind of reenacting our own. They put their own, not necessarily twists, but their own wordings to some of the events that happened in the book.
Okay.
So what we're going to be acting on is, at that time, the Lincoln Community Center pool would close down in the evenings, and an ARC lifeguard would come in and teach lessons. Well, obviously at that time, African American kids weren't able to participate, and there was definitely a thick line of segregation there. So the kids are going to reenact that piece. It's only about a 15-minute little act, and then we're going to go over to the First Presbyterian Church, and Reverend Culp has allowed us to go down and check out the old, if you want to call it, kind of Underground Railroad hiding spot that they had underneath the church. So
wow.
Let all our listeners know, and yourself, if you haven't seen that before, it's open to the public, and it's really a neat thing, man. It's he's actually has some manacles too, like, if you will, old chains that were found down there. So a lot of history there, and
still just boggles my mind.
Well, me too.
That those things were in place.
Well, yeah, but you know what?
That
We have
segregation.
to look at today.
We've come a long way.
We've come a great way. I think the people that started as civil rights activists and things would have to be proud where we're at. Whether if we all like it or not, I mean, you think about, the United States president is African American. That's a first time thing. You look at some of the coaches, especially throughout this area, college level, back before times, a lot of times those weren't positions that African Americans or minorities held. So, and if you look around Troy, the business owners throughout Troy and the corporations at all different levels, you have executives, you have owners that are minorities, Latinos, African American, Asian American. So I'm proud of where we've came, and I think that, I know I spoke to my father before he passed, and one of the things he was most proud of, I remember him saying, was that when he grew up in Springfield, Ohio, back in you're talking the 40s, he couldn't even go sit down at a diner with his teammates. They kind of had to split, and he was really proud that, and happy to say, okay, in his tenure, he saw a lot of progress. So I know that him of a man of great, he really strived to teach us to not look at skin color. And I know he shared with me before passing that, son, look how far our nations came. So I believe we have a lot more work to do, but I believe that we should be happy where we're at.
Right. I took joy in watching the video of the 106-year-old lady that got to meet President Obama.
I saw that too.
Not only it was cute, but you think at 106 years of her life,
I'm with you.
What she had seen,
Yeah.
and she got to meet the black president.
Yeah, she did. And it was funny. Nicole showed me that yesterday. And the way she was dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
I said,
You would have guessed she was 106.
That was cool. So, yeah, that was really unique. And, Clint, what we're doing, really that'll wrap up our Black History Month program at the center. It allows our kids to get in touch with Troy history. We're collaborating with the Miami County Library. And the Troy Foundation awarded us a grant for Black History Month to put on these events. So we have to thank them.
Wonderful. Now, yesterday you did something. You had a memorial service for the Bishop girls.
Yes. We talked to Miss Jean, their grandmother, and talked to the kids. And one thing that we wanted to do is we didn't want to have something all big and blown up. The kids just wanted to do something that was personal, something they thought the girls would want them to do. And what we did was they put together a nice slideshow of all the fun activities and the laughs and the dancing and the art and all the fun things that the kids did at the center every day. And then we allowed the kids to stream that with some music they put to it. And then, I know you're familiar, but the bench and the tree we put out front for their memorial,
yes.
We're just putting a small ribbon on that tree to kind of honor them and their 1 year anniversary, which would actually be today. And just to not only kind of, remember them and let them never be forgotten, but also moving forward and knowing that they're angels in heaven watching over us.
Absolutely. Also, what did come out of it is the ordinance that just passed in the city of Troy.
Yeah. All
All landlords are to make sure and maintain carbon monoxide detectors in their rental properties.
And I think that's huge. I think that what you have to always look at, it's easy to say it, but people say you have to look at what happens and then what is the consequences or what is the conclusion that comes from that. And from that, I'll share with you on behalf of Miss Jean and the Bishop family, they definitely feel like in no means that their daughters die in vain. They hope and pray, or their granddaughters, that it prevents things from the future.
Future from happening.
And that's happened. We've had phone calls at the center. A lady in Covington, it was the last 6 months, she called and said, I want to share with you, my carbon monoxide monitor was going off, and we evacuated the house, and they came in and said that it was, at a dangerous amount. So, Clint, we have to look back and say, okay, in 10 years, where will this initiative take us to? And I think the city and city council made the right steps, and hopefully that's contagious to other counties and cities.
Exactly.
So
it's common sense. If you have anything open flame in your home to heat with or to cook with,
yes, sir.
you would make sure you had a smoke detector make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector. The one thing that you can't detect on your own.
Yes.
You can see smoke, but you still have a smoke detector.
Yes, sir.
Let's make sure we have carbon monoxide in your house, even if you own it.
I'll tell you, I was oblivious to it myself, and not only as my own home, but as a property owner and having tenants, I really have not only strived myself to get in there every 30, 60 days and take a look at things, but it makes you be conscious and aware of, because, life is so short and things can happen so quick, so.
That's true. You've got art classes.
Yes, Karen Perk, who's worked with us really the last 4 years, in conjunction with her and Hayner. Our next class coming up is Tuesday, March the 29th from 6 to 8. We have had, I'll tell you, Clint, we had 7-year-old kids in the class. We've had 70-year-old senior citizens. It's truly been a diaspora and a melting pot of the Lincoln Center's patrons. Our last class, we took the van over to Hayner because the weather was bad, and it was just neat to see the senior citizens that use the pool getting off the van and the kids that always come to the center. So this art class has really taken off, and I want to encourage our listeners, if you want to participate or your kids to participate, contact the main office at 937-335-2715, and we have spots available for people to participate.
All right. Now, something new that you have at the center, the men's prayer breakfast.
Yes, I sat down with a gentleman named Nelson Doan, and Nelson has been working with me since November, and Nelson, he said, he started the men's prayer breakfast back in the 1960s, and a little history here that I didn't know. He started because there were some racial tension things stirring over at the high school, and he felt that this would be an initiative to bring churches together and different ethnicities and all people. So he started this back in the 60s with an intention of the first Saturday of the month, get together, an hour breakfast, say a little prayer, fellowship. And he shared with me back in November that it had slowly dwindled away, and he felt that it would be good to host it at the community center. Well, it took us 2 months to plan for it and kind of get things ready. I met with him and the committee last week, and we've decided to continue it at the Lincoln Center. The first one will be Saturday, March the 5th at 7:30. It'll go from 7:30 to 8:30. And the Lincoln Center will just host the event as far as its physical space. We're still looking for other churches, pastors, and people to come in and deliver the prayer or the message.
Okay.
We've got the first month taken care of, but we know for the months of March, April, and May, it'll be at the Lincoln Community Center, and we'll take a break in June and July for the Strawberry Festival and for July 4th. So I want to thank Nelson Doan for his sacrifice, his dedication the last 50 years or so, and being able to lead this, and we're thankful to be able to carry on the torch.
All right, and one more thing you've got on the list today, Easter. And I know that's always a big thing at the center.
It is. Last couple of years, and I know you came by, actually, Clint, we had the Detroit Rotary Club has helped donate some things and eggs and baskets, and the Easter bunnies came over. And this year, we're going to start everybody at noon. We had some confusion. It's my fault in the past in that we start the younger kids at noon, then we'd stagger the older kids at 12:15. Well, the problem that I created is that then people would arrive at 12:15, and they're thinking, oh, maybe we let off a couple minutes early. Well, they show up at 12:15, and all the eggs are gone. So my goal for all of our listeners out here, that way I don't feel so, I guess, so guilty. If everybody can arrive at 11:45, we will not release until 12 o'clock. So if you're there before noon, you'll be good to go.
You will not release.
We will not release anybody.
The herds of kids.
Yes, and we'll make sure that we release them, obviously, in separate age groups in terms of the spaces. But we want to go at noon so that it gives everybody a fair chance to get eggs. And then if somebody's running late, well, unfortunately, they're running late. If somebody's there early, we know that they get to participate or on time. So we want to clear that up and let our listeners know on Saturday, March the 26th at 12 p.m. at the Lincoln Community Center and back at 110 Ash Street. We will have our Easter egg hunt. And I haven't went through the record books, but I'll tell you, we were doing the Easter egg hunt as early as 1940.
Wow.
So we've been doing it a long, long time. So,
About how many kids do you get?
Last year I was going through the pictures. I'd estimate between 80 and 100.
Wow.
There's
That's
a lot of
kids.
There is, and there's a lot of other hunts going on throughout Troy in that same weekend. So we're just thankful to be able to host it. And I'll tell you, without Troy Rotary Club, to be able to provide as much as we do, we wouldn't be able to. So we want to thank them.
Make sure that there's enough candy for everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Shane. Anything else you want to cap off with?
No, just glad to be back, man. It's been a busy February, and Black History Month's had me running a lot. I've done a lot of speaking engagements, which has been good, and I've got acquainted with a lot of new areas. I was out at the Elizabeth Township Center, and they've got a beautiful center out there, and just glad to be able to be back. And this is an important show for the center because a lot of our listeners, I know, look forward to hear what we have going on.
All right. Well, good to have you back. This has been the Lincoln Community Center Report with Shane Carter. I'm Clint Myers on 107.1 WTJN for David Denoyer on TCTV.